Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of DU Greekcast. I'm your host, Cameron Lowe, also president of Kappa Alpha Order. I'm joined here today with Keegan Hodgkins, LCA's Philanthropy Chair, Zach Xenios, Sigma Nu's Philanthropy Chair, and Logan Miller, Kappa Alpha Order's Philanthropy Chair. How are y'all doing today?
Doing good.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for being here. Just a reminder, this podcast is just me talking to different members of different chapters each week, just about the different aspects of Greek life and, just shining some light on these chapters here and hopefully answering any questions people might have about Greek life. Each episode, I start off with a Greek trivia question. So this week's Greek trivia question is, what was the overall fraternity GPA average last spring?
Do we just guess?
You can guess, yeah.
I think it was like 2.6.
2.6. You have no faith in us.
I thought it was like a 3.3 or 3.4.
I'll go
You're
right in
close.
the middle, 3.
3. Well, Logan, you were right the first time.
3.3.
3.3. Yeah, there you go.
I looked at a trophy the other day that we have in our house, of overall GPAs, and it was around then over there. So that's what I guessed. But I guess we've gotten better since then.
Yeah.
Greek life.
Yeah. Yep. Man, I did not give Logan the script. Like, Lane stole the script
Yeah,
in the other episode.
I didn't have.
So also, this is just a time for you guys to promote any social events you guys got coming up. So if you want to start, Keegan, because I know you guys got a huge one coming up.
Yeah, coming up this Saturday, October 7th, we have our annual Watermelon Fest. It's our national philanthropy event. We do it every year. Every Lambda Chi chapter does it, every university. But it's basically here, it's just a field day where we get like a bunch of watermelons and then we do a whole bunch of games with them. This year we have like one where you're like on the 10-yard line and you have like 4 downs to try and score a touchdown, but the ball's a watermelon. All that sort of stuff, just fun games. And it's all based around watermelons. And all that goes to the Ozarks Food Harvest is where the funds are going for that. So it supports a local charity.
Okay, awesome. Zach?
So we're going to have next Wednesday on, I think it's the 11th, at like 6:30, we're going to have a yard games event, having everybody over, playing games, like spike ball, die, cornhole, just having a good time. And then the 13th, so a couple days later, we'll have our Friday the 13th party, slasher themed. We got a flyer up on the Instagram. Go check that out. And then later this month, on the 31st, we're going to do our reverse trick or treat event. So we're going to go out and give out candy to houses in exchange for canned goods. And then we're going to go ahead and donate those to a food pantry.
Sounds like you guys got a lot.
Yes, we do.
So October 31st, Kappa Alpha's having our haunted house. It's going to be pretty fun. If you guys didn't go last year's, a good time. DFC also talked about possibly doing a community trunk or treat.
All right. And potentially a party on October 27th for Kappa Alpha as well. Jailbreak theme. So one thing I do also ask everybody first getting on this podcast is, why you joined Greek life and how it's impacted your overall college experience so far. Any guys want to start us out with that one?
I'll go for it.
All right.
So my mom was in Greek life when she was in college way back when, and so was my uncle.
What chapters?
I have no idea.
Okay.
My mom, they both went to University of Tennessee, one Knoxville, one Martin. So nice. I was heavily encouraged to go there, but here I am at Drury. So I joined Greek life kind of based on their influence. I'd always heard great things about it, and I wanted to see what it's about. So here I am.
I always kind of knew I was going to be in Greek life throughout high school. I was just like, it's just going to happen. My brother was in Greek life as well in college, and he went to Christian Brothers University in Memphis. So I kind of snickered at the University of Tennessee and UT Martin, yeah.
With me, coming into college, I just kind of wanted a place where I knew it would be sort of easier to make friends and sort of like a place where you just kind of have a reason to already get talking to people. So that's why I went for Greek life, yeah.
All good reasons. How do you think it's shaped all you guys' experience so far? I know all you guys are pretty much sophomores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a ball.
Yeah.
It's taught me a lot of things just about
sure.
like how to communicate with other people, especially like in a more adult setting, Coming out of high school, you're not really taught that too well. So having a fraternity kind of help you along with that is really good.
I think one of the coolest things that's kind of impacted me about it is we're the only ones running it, right? There's no adults or parents around anywhere doing anything behind the scenes. It's all us. It's all on us.
So this episode, we're going to be talking about philanthropy, and it's just a big part of Greek life. It always has been. And my first question for y'all is, for those who might not know what philanthropy really entails and its ties with Greek life, what's its purpose for Greek life?
Yeah, I think that it's sort of a overlooked but also a very important aspect of Greek life. It's pretty much anything that like we do outside of like hanging out at our house, like anything outward facing is for philanthropy, which is basically just us doing charity work for like the community around us. So I think it's a very important aspect of Greek life.
Without a doubt, because if we didn't have philanthropies where we actually got boots on the ground, helped people out around our community, then the community would not exactly like the party boys, you know? Like,
For sure. It's definitely all about the community around us, raising money, giving back to everything that's helped shape us.
Yeah, those are all great answers. So one little snippet I found just talking about why philanthropies and fraternities, kind of joined forces was back in the 60s and 70s. It was considered the period of everyone just kind of doing their own thing. It led to people questioning the relevance of Greek life. In late 70s, membership was declining and many chapters were closing. So then Greek life then adopted these national philanthropies, and it really just kind of gave it a new meaning, and it encouraged civic involvement. It gave some more meaning to Greek life. And so that's kind of what caused them to rise again into the 80s, and that's why it became such a big deal again. So in your guys' minds, why do you think people should care about these events that we all put on, and why is it important to you all, most importantly?
I mean, I think it just wraps right about the last question. It's all about the community, just like doing what you can to help like build up everyone around you as well.
it's really just about being an empathetic person and knowing that, hey, it's not always about me and mine, it's about other people too.
I think that like being at college or being in a fraternity could be like a very insular environment, but there are like lots of like people out there that need help or like social problems out there. So I think that like having an outward facing aspect that can help with that sort of thing is really good.
Yeah, it definitely looks good, and it definitely can shape you into a better person and give you something else to strive for your time here at college. So more personally, when choosing to join your respective fraternities, did the philanthropy have anything to do with your reason for joining or anything like that?
My case, not at all, actually. I like didn't even like really hear about that until like after I joined, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. I love that we can like have this kind of outlet to help and give back. I've always liked doing philanthropy. I've always have through high school, and so it's just something that I like once I joined was just like, it's great, let's do it.
Something you continue to keep doing.
So the specific philanthropy didn't have too much to do with which fraternity I joined. It's just more of a philanthropy thing, because growing up I was a Boy Scout, as you guys always like to point out.
I was too.
Yeah. And part of being a Boy Scout is being civic-minded and reaching out to your community, just making everybody around you better. So it was more of just knowing that this was going to be my new way to enter that philanthropy world and civic engagement.
Yeah.
It's a great way to put it.
Yeah, definitely.
Me joining Lambda Chi didn't play a huge role, but Feeding America, our philanthropy, is also, they work closely with the Boy Scouts, and I was a Boy Scout, so that also kind of goes together. Yeah.
3 Boy
Look
Scouts.
at that.
Three
Three
Boy
Boy
Scouts.
Scouts. Look at that.
Are we all Eagle Scouts?
Are we
Yes,
all
sir.
Eagles?
I'm
Are we
Eagle.
all Eagles?
I'm Eagle.
You're an Eagle
Let's
too? Oh my
go.
gosh, look at that.
I am the outcast.
Crazy we ended
here.
up here
I
on,
am,
on the
I am the
philanthropy
outcast
chair.
here.
Yes, you are, Cam. How's it feel? How's it feel?
It's interesting. I know some of you guys have already said this, but what are your guys' national philanthropies for some people who don't know? And how much money did you guys raise last year for your philanthropies? Just ballpark number.
Our national is Feeding America. More closely, like in Springfield, us specifically, we work with Ozarks Food Harvest, like more directly. And then I would say like ballpark last year, we probably raised like maybe $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
We're about the same. Our national philanthropy is St. Jude's. We also raised about $2,000 last year.
Our national philanthropy is the Independence Fund, and I think we made around the same as them, actually, so 2,000, 3,000 area.
And for those who don't know, the Independence Fund, it's just raising money for wounded veterans, and if we get to a certain amount, we can get one of those big track chairs.
And what a track chair is it is like a wheelchair, but instead of wheels, it uses treads so that veterans can go out and hunt and golf again and can actually stand again without like people holding you on either side.
You guys might have already said a little bit about this, but what's the importance and significance of being able to put these events on, and how does it help out those other organizations that you guys have just listed?
I mean, there's the obvious face value of, hey, we're giving you money, we're raising money for you. Here's like 1,000, here's 2,000 at any given time. But I think another part of it is also raising awareness that these are issues in our community as well. Just because like if it's on if it's in people's minds, then it's not going to leave. Like if you watch a veteran get a track chair, that's something you're going to remember for the rest of your life.
It'd be a special moment for sure.
Yeah.
In Springfield, especially, like homelessness and like hunger are like very like outward problems. A lot of people notice them. So like Ozarks Food Harvest can like stretch $1 to make 4 meals for people. So like our goal with Watermelon Fest is to only raise $600, but that can do 2,400 meals for people. So I think that's just a good thing. Like actually doing some work to like get out there and like solve a problem.
Yeah, and one that's very, very localized for us with seeing all the homelessness and everything. That's awesome. You guys are doing that for this area.
St. Jude is a little more national. Pretty much all the money we go to, or raise goes to either helping take care of patients or doing research.
Aren't you guys doing something with the restoration of Maui?
We are, yeah. So one of our members that just graduated last year is from Hawaii.
Lilo?
Yes, Lilo. I don't think his family was directly affected, but you know it's close to his heart. So we're gonna get out there and do the best we can for him.
Cool.
It's another reason to join a fraternity right there, is that brotherhood.
Yeah, that brotherhood can be shown on even in this aspect.
Yep.
Walk me through some examples of what a philanthropy event might look like, and just ones in the past you might have done, or ones in the future that you plan on doing.
You could make anything a philanthropy event if you try hard enough. Like anything that people go to, anything that you know there will be people there, you can turn into a philanthropy event. But just off the top of my head, like a 50-50 raffle, canned food party, because we're college students, so we all have a pretty active social life. And like at the door, just be like, hey, give us a can or two of food, you know? That's another philanthropy event.
I'll talk about our one that we do in the spring every year. We get a bunch of different hot sauces, and then we like live stream us eating it, and people like donate, you know, a certain dollar amount to see us eat a certain wing.
It's really a cool one you guys get to do.
I'm sure it's cool from the outside, but it's a lot of fun doing it up until you got to eat those wings.
It's a lot hotter on the inside.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We do Watermelon Fest annually, and like I mentioned earlier, that's done at every university with a Lambda Chi. They do a Watermelon Fest or like some variation of it with the watermelons. And then most of our other philanthropy throughout the year isn't really student focused. It's more we do canned food collections, so we'll like pass out bags to like one street just 1 week, and then a week later collect the bags of food. And then like maybe a month later we'll go to a different street and do the same thing. And then we just take all that food and we donate it. And that's pretty much all of our philanthropy.
Yeah, and then last spring, our chapter, we did the basketball game against Drury Security, which we hope to make that an annual thing. Yeah. How is being able to put on these specific events, like since you guys are the philanthropy chairs, impacted you as a person, you feel like?
I think it's really impacted my opinion of Greek life. Like I said earlier, it wasn't something that I was really aware of before. And then since, you know, I was a Boy Scout, I guess we all were.
Yeah.
It was really cool to like be able to continue that and kind of pick up where I left off from high school, and just like now I'm philanthropy chairman, I get to carry the torch basically. I get to help focus our entire chapter, right, and their efforts.
Yeah.
It's super sick.
Coming from Boy Scouts, because if we are all Eagle Scouts, a pretty big part of that project is our leaders are very hands-off. And part of, I know at least for me, part of stepping up to the plate of philanthropy chair was because, hey, I know how to organize events like this. I know like what goes behind the scenes because I've done it before, which is something that most guys our age haven't done yet.
Yeah, I feel like planning an event and then like executing it well is rewarding, and then also it being something good or like in benefiting and helping others on top of that, and being like making Greek life and our organizations look better at the same time. I think it's just all like one of the more rewarding things that can be done in Greek life.
Yeah, I planned our basketball event in the spring, and it was stressful, but it was a whole lot of fun planning that event. I assume you're under that stress right now with the Watermelon Fest and Haunted House.
We've all got big events coming up this month, so we're all sweating bullets, sort of.
Yeah, but
it's a good time, though.
It was a rewarding feeling, for sure.
Yeah.
So I kind of like to hit on this topic a little bit, or every podcast, is how are these events different than what it seems like at bigger schools, and in your guys' minds, of course, since, I mean, none of us are there, and what are the pros and cons between that in your mind?
I'd start off with saying the whole entire point of philanthropy, at least on the local level, is that civic outreach, engaging with somebody that lives a block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks from your fraternity house. So I feel like that element of like tight-knittedness is different from a campus like, say, MSU, where they've got 20,000 people over there, and you meet one guy in Greek life during one of their philanthropy events, and you're going to forget his name. Like, on a small school basis, there's not as many of us here. We get to make those more interpersonal connections within the community.
Because it's, such a small group of people, you'll tend to see the same people doing it over and over again, and that relationship just grows stronger when you see, the same guy like, hey, like helping you out every time.
Yeah.
Like, probably, obviously, the bigger schools can raise more money than us, but any amount helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any amount helps, and being like face to face with the people that you can help, which if you're doing community outreach, I feel like, at least this is my personal opinion, I don't know about anybody else at the table, but I feel like if I needed food and I met the guy that fed me for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that'd be a pretty powerful moment for me.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think just from my perspective of like planning what's going on and being the person in charge of it, it is definitely a very like personal experience, our philanthropy. So like the things that we're doing are not like very like broad sweeping, like we're just going to collect the money and then donate it to a charity. Like I'm the person who has to like get in my car and go and drive it to the food bank and whatnot. Like you like go and you see things, or like we go out and we donate food, or like we collect food, and like I've met Drury alumni who are like, oh, that's great, you guys are still doing that sort of stuff. But I think just being at a small school, you're able to get, like you guys were saying, the more interpersonal, and like the smaller scale can benefit for this sort of thing because the problems that you're helping with are sometimes more interpersonal.
Yeah, like you can look at the big picture, right, and look at something bigger, but the smaller you get, the more detailed it gets. Mm-hmm. And the same is true for school size.
Obviously.
Yeah, right.
And when we all were able to come together for Greek Service Week this past spring, and like with the cleanups, and then and just seeing Greek life as a whole thrive together and create those connections just even outside of our chapter, and just show that, hey, we can all come together for a common goal. And that was a pretty powerful moment for me, because just cleaning up the street with other sororities, other fraternities, and going through that diaper drive, packaging.
And we finished an hour or two early because we just worked too fast for them.
We were too fast, too quick. What's your best story from a philanthropy event that your chapter's put on or just participated in?
So we started the Hot Ones event a couple of years ago. Currently, the event is capped. You can only like buy a certain number of wings per person. 2 years ago when it started, it was uncapped. So we had one guy, I think, eat like 46 wings, and most of them were like the hottest spice level. He was throwing up for a while, but we definitely raised the most money that year. We're getting back to those numbers, but it was wild. I think the video is still up if you want to go watch it on Instagram. But
him just barfing all over the life.
Well, I don't think it's him barfing, but it's like the whole event. So
okay.
One for me, it's a lot less funny, but I kind of alluded to it earlier. It was last year when we were passing out bags for a food pickup. I had met, not only was he a Drury alum, he was also a Lambda Chi who had like graduated in like 1976 or something. We had just talked for like a couple of minutes, and he was like, "Oh, you guys are still doing that sort of stuff." Like, they hadn't been doing the exact same thing, but they were like, oh, we did a little bit of outreach and that sort of stuff. And just like getting the context of being part of like something bigger than myself, or like in a lineage of something sort of like that, was sort of interesting, I think.
Impactful for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's super.
Just looking back and seeing how much work that your chapter's done. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'd say one that sticks out to me, it wasn't actually during a philanthropy event, but it was at ELA over the summer, which is sort of a leaders academy for Kappa Alpha Order. We had gotten on the subject of our national philanthropy, and part of that was them showing us videos of these veterans getting these track chairs. And it was, even though I couldn't be there in person for that type of thing, obviously, it was still really impactful just seeing the way it just impacted people's lives, like seeing how it affected them and what it did for them and the emotions they went through in the moment when they received something like that.
We have something similar, like a leaders training camp. And when I was doing that last spring, we were kind of paired with, it was like 2 smaller chapters and 2 bigger chapters. And one of the bigger chapters that I was paired with, I forgot what school they're at, but something they do every year is they throw like a football game at their stadium. And so other organizations on campus will like bid to see like who gets to play them. And then that money, it's usually like $10,000, $20,000 goes to St. Jude's, which is super cool.
That's really interesting.
It wraps around again. It's like kind of less community outreach, more just about the numbers. So
yeah, for me, one thing that comes to my head, it's not very serious or impactful. It's just kind of a funny moment from the basketball game this past spring. I remember I was driving to the lane. I was gonna kick the ball out, pass it to the corner, and I completely tripped over my foot, and I smashed into the SPD officer. I completely just like went full-bodied into the SPD officer, knocking him to the ground, then just falling over his body, slamming on him. That was just a funny moment for me. All right, that's going to be all for this episode of Do You Agree Cast. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being here. It's another great episode. New episodes are going to be coming out every Monday, and this is all leading up to a live event that we're going to be doing with Drury's President, John Beuerlein, Associate Dean of Students, Chip Parker, and Director of Greek Life, Anna Stark. That'll be held in the FSC Ballroom October 17th at 7 p.m. And remember to check out all these guys' events. We're going to be doing some cool events here in the fraternity realm here at Drury University. And that's all for this episode. Thank you guys for watching.